I thought I'd never get to see this in my life, but wow, over these past few weeks, the market is as volatile as Bitcoin itself. And just to recap for those that do not have internet connection or do not read the news. It started on February 24 when the Dow plunges by 1,000 points, and the drop was the worst in 2 years. But that's not all. On February 27, the Dow plunges by another 1,100 points, and just when you think it will drop any further, the market did a reverse Uno and surges by 1,100 points. And just on the next day itself, on March 5th, the Dow plunged 1,000 points, erasing almost all its gains on Wednesday. And then on March 9, the Dow plunged even further, triggering the circuit breaker for the first time in 20 years. The next day, March 10, the Dow drops by 1,400 points, officially bringing the market into a bear territory. Later on March 12, Trump decides to suspend travel from the Europe to US, causing widespread market panic, and the Dow plunged by another 10%. Its worst day since the 1987 market crash, and also triggering a circuit breaker for the second time in a week. And just when you think that everything is doom and gloom, the Dow surges by almost 2,000 points as Trump addressed the nation. Just this 2 weeks itself, the market has made it onto the top leaderboard in history, marking the 4 largest daily point gains and the 4 largest daily point losses. And while the market is doing this crazy roller coaster ride, the number of infected is constantly increasing. At the point of recording, it is around 150,000. 150,001. And while some people in other countries are panicking left and right, fighting over toilet papers, Singaporeans, on the other hand, are very much used to it already. On a serious note though, while the market has plunged by almost 30%, my portfolio hasn't been spared either. It is currently at negative 20%. Oftentimes, when you see this news that says billionaires lose 1 trillion of their wealth, you'll be like, oh wow, that's quite a lot of money, isn't it? But feeling it for yourself, losing almost $2,000 of your portfolio money, that is an entire different feeling altogether. Some people have told me that I should have cashed out all of my portfolio right before the big crash, then re-enter at the bottom. Yes, that would be the best strategy, wouldn't it? But then if I have the ability or skill to time the market perfectly, I will be a full-time trader already. But let's be real here, most of the people, especially me, are extremely bad at market timing. If we were so good, we would already be Lambo rich or already have our own private jets. But if you are the exceptional 5%, congratulations, you are a genius, or you are just a god of gambler. While we were at all-time high, many investors rushed in because they had the fear of missing out, or FOMO, and this caused the price to increase even higher and higher. As of right now, the market had dropped by so much that it went back in time by 3 years. Currently, it's at 2017 levels. Essentially, all of us, we have been given a time machine, and now we have the opportunity to invest in 2017 levels instead of the current 2020 levels. You might be afraid to start investing, thinking, what if the virus kills more people? It hasn't even reached the peak yet. More people will die. Eventually, what if the world collapses? But just calm down.
Everybody stay calm! What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
Let's just take a step back and ask yourself this important question. Has the way businesses make money changed? Do you think we will stop traveling forever and no longer go on cruise? Maybe we will revert back to being villagers, having to plant our own vegetables and hunt for food. And judging by how many people are fighting over toilet papers all around the world, you will be right for thinking that one day we will have to pay using toilet papers. And we will have to stay at home and Netflix and chill all day long? Of course not. We may experience some of these effects temporarily, but eventually things will recover. And when things do recover in a few months' time, those that stock up on toilet paper and instant noodles, congratulations! You will not have to worry about toilet papers for the next 15 years. It's just a normal market cycle. Stocks which have gone up will eventually come down, and stocks which have come down will eventually go back up. In 2008, the crash happened due to poor financial decisions. Banks were lending money to people who couldn't afford to pay them back. And banks will be packaging those loans into investable assets for people to buy. When the real estate market crashed, many people were unable to pay back the loans, and banks almost went bankrupt. Well, technically they did, but they were bailed out. Lehman Brothers even called Warren Buffett to help out, but he refused. You know you are rich when the banks had to call you to ask for money. The 2008 crash had to happen because the market had totally nowhere else to go. But this current crash is entirely different in the sense that it is entirely artificial because it is driven mainly by fear. Our fear of the illness and how the government is currently handling the crisis. And our fear is amplified by how the media portrays the illness. Of course, businesses will take a hit. When people couldn't leave their home, planes and cruises will lose money. And when people start spending lesser, wage freeze will happen. All of this will have a large ripple effect on the economy. Despite all of this, the fundamental way which businesses earn money has not changed. Remember how everyone used to yell that market crash is coming? Inverted yield curve, slow GDP growth, negative interest rate, the trade wars. This crash wasn't caused by any of this. And even though I made a video in January telling you all to be prepared for a recession, I also didn't see this coming. And neither did the professionals. And even those that do see a crash incoming, they were all for the wrong reasons. And that's what you call task failed successfully. This crash is caused mainly by fear, and it will last as long as there is fear. And that is why I have a strong suspicion that in a few months' time, when the vaccine finally develops, the markets will eventually recover. So, here is what you need to do to take full advantage of this crash and come out on top when it finally recovers, earning yourself a badge of achievement. Survive the 2020 crash. First up, have a shopping list ready. If by now you haven't had a shopping list, now is the best time to find what you like. Look for companies which will guarantee you profitability when this is all over. Remember the good old days when Tesla used to hit all-time high, when it hit 1000 and you wish that you could have bought it when it was around 200? Well, perhaps now you might want to consider it. I'm not asking you to buy Tesla, I'm just saying perhaps. For me personally, I'll be using a filter list to look for the best dividend stocks, which I've already talked about in my previous video. I will leave a link up here so that you can watch it. In short, I'll be choosing the dividend stocks which have the best yield, profitability, debt, and price, and I will start buying into these companies because currently I have a 30% discount on this kind of companies. Next up, deploying my war chest. My war chest is those money which I've saved up just for the purpose of buying into investment when a big crash happens, just like right now. If you have been saving up your money like how I've told you in my previous videos, now is the best time to use it. Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway, has been sitting on almost 60% cash reserve, and you can bet that he's going to deploy in this kind of crash. Now is the best time to deploy your money, but do not all in like those movies, because you will never know when the recovery will happen. And trust me, right now whenever you are investing into the market, it might look like you are throwing money into the fire. You must be tactical in how you deploy your army of cash. In Sun Tzu Art of War, Chapter 7, whether to concentrate or to divide your troops must be decided by circumstances. Split your army of cash into several batches, then deploy them periodically, because you want to capture all the price points on the way down and all the price points on the way up, so that you never miss any of the downturns and any of the upturns. When the market finally recovers, you have already captured all the cheap prices. Be greedy when others are fearful. I've already said it so many times in my previous video, until my saliva also dried up, but I will say it once again. Be greedy when others are fearful. Buy when there's blood on the streets. The market has withstood so many crashes over the past 100 years. The Spanish flu epidemic, the Great Depression, World War II, 9/11, 2008 financial crisis. Warren Buffett has gone through this kind of crash so many times, and each time he has come out on top. So do yourself a favor, take this opportunity and start investing right now. Carpe diem, seize the day, or rather stock market. And when the market finally recovers, your portfolio will be breathtaking.
You're breathtaking.
One day, you will be able to tell your kids that how Grandpapa used to listen to Kelvin, started investing, and has his portfolio come out on top. And remember this, the market has and will eventually recover. Maybe it will be next week or next month or even next year. But when it does eventually recover, do not be that guy who says, "Oh man, if only I've invested during that crash, I could be rich right now." So that's all from me today. Let me know in the comments down below. Have you already started investing? Or are you still trying to time the market? Like, share and subscribe, as I'll be posting new videos on every Monday. See ya!